Yep. All that digging and wasted money that y'all spent trying to catch Trump and his in something, anything, and you guys failed so fucking bad it was funny. How do you fuck up that bad? What was that? 3 separate times you tried to get him for a bunch of empty fucking folders? Who the fuck cares? Nobody gives a flying fuck. The hell would I want with a bunch of empty folders? I would have fucking moved them too. Sitting there pulling all this bullshit over nothing. Here he is running again and you didn't catch him with shit. All that money, wasted time, and all you found were a bunch of fucking empty envelopes. Boy, you people are fucking sad. You found nothing. Absolutely nothing worthwhile. Nothing worth bugging that man over for so fucking long. As far as I'm concerned, after the first month, y'all should have been charged with treason. Shit, try to do that with the King and the Queen of England. Y'all be fucking lynched. Stupid. Here he is running and you ain't stopped a fucking thing. Y'all's just sad. Is that what your life has come down to? Picking on a man that's done absolutely nothing? If that's what you call a hard day's work, I hate to meet your wife. She'd probably follow right along in your footsteps, too. Nah, fuck that shit. All that wasted taxpayer money, and you didn't find not a thing. Nothing. You didn't find shit. Do you really think that's taxpayer money well spent? If you do, you done fucked up somewhere, 'cause I don't think so. I really don't. All that time wasted. All that money spent on something you were never gonna find. Empty folders. Who the fuck cares? That just shows there may have possibly, the slimmest chance, have been something there. And I seriously doubt he'd be dumb enough to actually do it. Having those kinds of files in some place other than the White House or in this country is a treasonable offense. So who the fuck would be dumb enough to do it? I seriously doubt a businessman who knows how to practically get out of anything would be dumb enough to do a treasonable offense knowing everybody's watching him. You people are stupid. And if you're not stupid, you're certainly fucking getting there thinking some shit like that. Honestly. How stupid do you think a person's gotta be to deliberately condemn themselves? Huh? If somebody's dumb enough to pull that, that's just sad. That truly is sad. I don't even think the dumbest person on earth would deliberately pull some shit like that. And I've found and have been friends with some seriously stupid people. I will admit, I've done stupid shit too. But you wouldn't find me doing that. No, that's just hoping you get your head cut off. That's beyond stupid. If you actually did it. That's a lifetime at Guantanamo Bay. That's a firing squad offense if he did what they said he did. And we condemn capital punishment for most crimes. So, if it's still a death penalty offense, just having folders of that type, then he fucked up. I will admit it. He fucked up. But just because you found a bunch of empty folders, shit, I wouldn't have hung on that shit either. And that was stupid of him to do so. But that don't mean he actually had those folders there. That just means he fucked up and moved the empty cases. Who cares? You didn't find not one single file actually in those. All you found was a bunch of empty packing slips in folders. Who gives a shit about those? Stupid crap. And then you're sitting there and you're gonna try to go after him on his taxes again. It's like, you ain't never gonna touch the man. The fucking man is so rich, even if you did, it'd be a drop in a bucket compared to what he has. Just fucking leave him alone. And by the way, I'm gonna vote for him. He gets through all of this and we get him in the office. That'd be a slap in the face of every Democrat who sullied his name. And you know what? It'd be good for him. After all that shit. I can't wait till 2024 come around. If he runs, or his son runs, I'm voting him in. I'm voting for him. What do I care if one of them may have done something stupid? At least I know who he is. He's a businessman. And you know where most of them stand. You know, I was quite frankly surprised when he allowed through a law that would have raised his taxes. You know, I had the biggest grin on my face. That's not something a big businessman does. That's not. What kind of businessman would vote against his own group? If he's willing to do that, just to do something that's right, shit, I vote for him too. All these people bitching, moaning, and complaining, and where does it fucking get them? It gets them absolutely nowhere. As my bishop says, be the change, you are the change. Unless you say or do something, you ain't never gonna change anything. For real. All these people complaining and moaning and griping about stuff. And then do you see them actually going out and trying to change any of it? The families that gripe about the trash everywhere, 9 times out of 10, do you ever see them even bother to pick up a single piece of it? And if they do, they sit there and grumble about how nasty it is? Well, you don't like it? Bring it forward to the cops. Tell them about it. The cops will do the same thing they did in our city, more than likely. They'll send a patrol car every now and then. Or they'll have an unmarked car sit by the trash cans. And if somebody throws away something and misses, he gives them a warning if they don't come by and pick it up. And then if they still don't come by and pick it up, they'll get a ticket in their mailbox. Our cops are willing to do a little work. You know? I always said that cops are nothing but paid gangs. But that's a lie. Because a lot of them, well, I should say, a good number of them are actually willing to do their job if you bring it forward into their attention. They're willing to do it. It's the job they're hired to do. It's not even hard to get their attention either. All you gotta do is wave them down. And it doesn't matter color, or creed, or race, or anything. If it's something worthwhile, they'll fucking do it. If it's something that could harm or cause harm, they'll get right on that shit. Our bishop's an African American, and he's been throwing down the gauntlet in our city for years. And he doesn't give a shit who he talks to. He told our white mayor, basically, if anything goes through his channels, he'll never see it. And you know what? The sad part of the truth is true. 9 times out of 10, city councils, city districts, and the heads of cities won't involve African Americans in most public affairs, especially around where we live. And it's mostly because they see the way the rest of the group works, which is racist. It's stereotyping. It's bigotry at its finest. And you know what? It ain't right. And Bishop wants to call me a racist for bringing it up. It's like, if you didn't want the answer, then you shouldn't have asked me, because I'm going to tell it right to your face. I told him exactly what my grandpa, racist ass, most hated person in our entire family, what he thought of people of color. And I will admit, I didn't like them. I couldn't stand my grandpa. The kind of shit he said about people. The only thing that I could say that he said that was truthful is self-segregation is the worst possible thing humanity could do to itself, especially with the new laws. And he was starting to turn over a leaf when he passed away, because he finally got in with, he got African American friends, he had co-workers, they hung out and had beers. He may not have liked them much because of the way he grew up, but I really believe he was turning a leaf. When he told me that the week before he passed, that self-segregation was the worst possible thing mankind could have started, it's true. It really is true. You got Little Italy, you got Chinatown, you've got entire storefronts full of nothing but Mexican food, and then you quite literally cross the train tracks, and what do you find? It literally looks like nobody cares. It's time to change. It's time to quit dwelling on the past. You can learn from the past, but don't dwell on it. Shit, nobody in my family has actually ever owned a slave. In fact, 2 of the people in my family was freeing them. I should actually say they never kept slaves, because they did buy them, but just to free them. Our family wasn't like that. We may have bad eggs every now and then, and everybody's always like, one bad egg ruins the dozen. No, it doesn't. It's time to break that fucking chain. It's time to stop that crap cold. Just like NASA. It was the first government institution, fully government institution, to break the racist chains and allow everybody to use the same restrooms, the same coffee pots, all the same stuff. Everybody was together in it. It wasn't just you, me, and everybody else gets this. It may have started like that, but the guy was tired of that shit. By the time his second year came around, he was done. The director was fed up with that shit. Never getting calculations because everybody had to run all the way across town just to use the restroom. That is stupidness at its finest. They can do the same fucking job as good, if not better, in most cases. And we're sitting here treating them like they're what? They're useless because only a couple of them act stupid? Why are you gonna stereotype a whole group over that? I don't fucking care. Shit. Our bishop was born and raised in Vegas, one of the most corrupt areas in history. One of the most fucked up areas in this entire country. And he's a bishop. It doesn't matter race, creed, or how you grew up. It matters to the point that if you aren't willing to change, then you fucked up somewhere. That's as far as that matters. Who else can say they got an African American bishop who was born and raised in Vegas? And this man knows what he is doing. Who else can say that they have a church that's actually willing to quite literally help everybody else before he helps himself? Man, the guy is homeless until the 9th, and he's still giving everybody else stuff. And help, and aid, at least as much as he can afford. He broke the bank, repeatedly helping people. And half the time, he doesn't even get so much as a thank you. He doesn't care about that. He's just happy he was able to help somebody. But turn it around and make some shit like I, me, mine out of some guy just simply trying to help himself and his family and do right by God, and you're gonna sit there and penalize him for it? He threw down the gauntlet. Big fucking whoop, that doesn't mean you have to burn him out of his house. And they're of course, they're gonna probably more than be like, prove it. Sorry, I can't. But I know somebody that had to do it, the city, or at least a family related to somebody that does, burned him out of his house. There's no other fucking way around it. And I don't give a shit what you gotta say. Some racist, fucked up bigot out there burnt him out of his home. Over what? Because he said some stuff that was absolutely fucking right? It's the truth. If he was to send his stuff through the channels that our mayor uses, nobody would ever fucking see it. And it's the absolute fucking truth. Folks may not like him, but that doesn't mean you have to endanger his wife and kids over it. Shit. If I was a cop, I would have wrote that down under suspicious circumstances. I would have actually done my job. Because that was fucking suspicious all the way. The very same night, not only his house got torched, but somebody tried to torch a brick house, also related to the church, right around the corner from his house. The same fucking night. That's beyond suspicious. That's fucked up. He can say that it was the family smoking or whatever, but come on. 2 houses, both directly related to the church. And both of them within 6 hours. And one was in broad daylight. That is just to say the least fishy. Of course, they're not going to say that because then they may impugn the honor of somebody that works in the city. Oh, we can't do that. Yes, the fuck you can. The fuck you can. This shit's stupid too. Everybody's always afraid because of somebody's fucking title. Who gives a shit? I told our own tax guy to stuff it up his ass, and I told the law director to do the same thing when we found out they were embezzling funds from the school to pave our mall. Fuck them all. Don't you think people's children have far more right to the money in a school that was aging beyond belief, barely had functioning AC, and the newest blackboard was paid for by a teacher? That's some fucked up shit. The newest computers were actually paid for by the director of the planetarium. Now that part I'm not really all that mad about, because, you know, this planetarium, it's separate, technically, from the rest of the school, even though it's in our school. But that doesn't mean that you can sit there and embezzle funds that's supposed to go to fixing the school, group it together with the tax bracket of Rookwood Commons, and then do nothing with the school and put it all into the mall. All of it. Every last bit of it. That's fucked up. For real. That is beyond fucked up. And it was found by my brother, who hasn't had a paying job in his entire life. He did what our law director wouldn't. His fucking job. How is it some dude that's never had a paying job in his life was able to find that? I should say a paying job that's by the books his entire life. How is he able to do that job? The guy that was our law director got fired. The lady whose son owns the mall was fired for embezzling. They could put their spin on it all they fucking want. It was embezzling. It was stealing the tax money from the schools because they had them grouped together and sending it all to the mall. Every last penny. Shoot, when I was going to the school, the shit was older than the fucking hill. The newest computer in there was from 1998. It was this old silver and black dinosaur. A shitty ass compact with a fat screen. Barely functions. And of course, the teacher, oh, you gotta use what we give you. Yeah. And then if you bring in something nice and new and it looks cool, you gotta make sure you bring enough for everybody. Fuck that. I didn't. I had to use my cell phone because most of the computers were so fucking broken that they couldn't even go online without crashing. You had to use pickle servers and sub servers that weren't recognized by the firewalls just to fucking use half of the stuff on the computers. Now granted, that did disable the firewalls, but it made the fucking computer work. Because it was a sub-server. It wasn't the real deal. Sure, it was far more dangerous for the computer to use those, but it was the only servers those computers could use. They want you to watch stuff on Nature and Discovery and God knows what else, and yet, one, they usually, if not always, blocked the servers, which was stupid because you needed them to function. The few that weren't blocked were absolutely useless because there were so many passcodes, logins, and security scripts all conflicting with each other that they barely worked. And it was just so that they could keep those ancient-ass dinosaurs functioning. Fuck all that. If that's what it takes, then it's time to upgrade. It's time to tell them all, go fuck yourself. We're gonna spend some of this money on the school. And it wasn't until after my brother brought it up at one of their income meetings that we almost missed because they tried to make it private at the last second. Which is illegal, by the way. If your city puts out a public forum saying that it's a public meeting, once they put that out, it's illegal to change the scope of the meeting. They can't make it private once they put out a public notice saying it's public. And if your city does that, you can get their money. Just like our bishop did. Ours was having a meeting talking about equality. And yet, nobody of the African American group was allowed in it. They put out a public forum saying that it was public, and then nobody of the full African American group was allowed in. Nobody from the public sector was allowed in, which is illegal because they put it on a public forum that it was an equality meeting that was open to the public. If they're going to change it, then they should have never posted that it was public. One, that's false advertising. And two, it looks flat out racist. And I'll admit it, when we showed up with our bishop, and they told him he couldn't come in, but they looked right at us and nodded. That looked racist beyond fucking belief. We're white, and they acknowledged us right away, but they told him he couldn't come in. I would have started a lawsuit right there. I would have called up somebody. I would have figured it out, and I would have started shit right there. I would have made such a fucking stink. It would have been unbelievable. All that bullshit. Yeah, sit there and try to call them out on it too. Bullshit. What kind of bullcrap is that? You can call a public meeting and then make it private. I'd call you a racist too. The way they do things, it's just so backwards and old school. It's retarded. And it makes the whole city look racist. Even though it's more than likely just a few badly worded lines somewhere in the legal beagle writing, all the red tape, that it makes everybody look like it. It's like, look, I'm willing to admit it. Our city only just recently, within the last 20 years, turned the tiles around that said black entrance so that you could no longer read it. Our city is so ashamed of it that they're even renovating the entire school to try to wipe out all of the old racist imagery that's still left in it. How long has it been since they desegregated the schools? In our school district, only in the last 20 years. I was 10 years old when they flipped those signs around. It happened in my lifetime. I couldn't stand reading about racism in the books. I can't stand looking at it today. It's messed up. And then you got all the segregation and laws that are still racist as all fuck. And cities are not willing to change it because why? It's easier to leave it in there. What is your reasoning as to why there's still racism and segregation? Shit. In my book, self-segregation is just as bad as enforced segregation. And then you want to treat everybody like they're the outsiders when they come into your little area. So the fuck what? Stupid shit. You turn around and call other people racist. I mean, fucking shove off, dude. Our family is a split race family. We've got a little bit of everybody in our family. We've got Latin descent. We've got Italian descent. Shit, me and my brother are quarter Cherokee. Not that you would ever notice it, unless we brought it up. Our stepmom by marriage, she's African American. Everybody always looks at us in the store like we're nuts because we hang out. Man, fuck all that shit. It doesn't fucking matter what color or creed you are. It's what you do that matters. I'm the whitest Jew you would ever meet. You think color or creed fucking matters. You best find somebody else. Stupid. That's all it is. Stupid. How many years have different creeds been trying to get equality? And then it's gone beyond that. Stupid. It's time for a fucking history lesson. Shit. There's no need to dwell on the past. Learn from it and move on. How are you ever supposed to move on if you sit there dwelling on it? It's not worth it. There are so many other better ways you could be spending your time than dwelling on the past. Learn from it and move on. Sitting there, wallowing in self-pity isn't going to get you anywhere except an early grave. It's as bad as what Putin's doing to fucking Ukraine. He wants to bring back the old fucking USSR, and he's willing to stomp on anybody that gets in his way. Fuck you, dude. It's time to throw those old fucking habits in the hamper where they fucking belong. Why do you think Stalin was overthrown? It wasn't because he was a good cupcake. He fucked up just like you are. He killed millions of his own people, and yet somehow his own people put up monuments to him. That's fucked up. If you killed my brothers and sisters, I definitely wouldn't put a monument up, that's for sure. I'd be wishing for something else. And I'm willing to admit that. But the stuff he's doing, whew, that's fucking over the top. Tell you that. All this stupid shit over what? Some failed idea? That it's actually a good thing is gone? What? There's a reason why the USSR fell. And it wasn't because they liked the fell. He fucking killed more people in total than Hitler killed Jews. Shit, he makes Hitler look like a Boy Scout. And them crazy fuckers got statues and shit going up. For real. What you really been smoking? Shit, if you murdered millions of people, I wouldn't put up no statue for you. I would not. That's screwed up. And that's beyond screwed up. You could learn from history. But to turn your back on an entire group, and the entire generation that actually did it is long dead. Over some shit that happened 50 years ago. This shit gets old. And hearing it gets old. I'm willing to admit, a lot of folks of the Caucasian genre fucked up. We as a whole fucked up when we thought it was perfectly acceptable to have slaves. And I'm willing to admit that. We fucked up. Okay? I'll admit that. I'm not lying. I know I'm not perfect. Far from it. But come on. Do you have any idea how old that shit gets? Hearing it over and over and over again. You had a blight. I will admit it. It's a blight on everybody's history. Fucked up shit. Slavery and servitude. And even when you got out of slavery, you were still counted as an equal and inferior. I will admit that's fucked up. Big time. But to sit there and dwell on it, you make everybody look bad. That's a blight on everybody's past. That's a past that can never be rewritten. I've read books and detailed histories about both sides. It's fucked up. And most of it was written in a pro-white format because, well, we were racist. Back when that stuff was all written, most of it was still pro-racism. And people couldn't stand the fact that it was changing. And I'm willing to admit that too. You know? But to lump us all together just because one group fucked up? That also is stupid. Come on, man. Not everybody took a hand in it. In fact, our family was one of the few that was trying to free as many as possible while it was still happening. I don't like it. I don't like the idea of it. I don't like the fact that it ever happened. And I'm willing to admit, I don't like the fact that it ever happened. But to sit there and lump everybody together into this group or that group is just stupid. You're asking for more separation of those groups, the minority and the majority. You're fucking hoping for it. If you keep it up like that. That's the dumbest possible thing you could do. Everybody's trying to get together. And what does everybody always do? But the past. It's the fucking past. We can't change it now. We can learn from it. But there ain't no fucking changing the past. Not unless we got a time machine, folks. And I seriously doubt that's gonna happen. The fastest we could possibly move would be like moving in time with it. We could never go back. The law of light speed forbids it. We would have to go faster than light to go back in time. And we would have to go 50 times faster for it to make any difference. Because then we could actually go back 50 years in one flash. It doesn't matter. Tired of hearing it. It's constantly segregate this. I'm gonna do that. I don't want nothing to do with your group. Blah, 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 blah. You know what? I find those BLM signs just as racist as nothing at all. All lives matter. As I said before, self-segregation is just as bad as enforced segregation. And it just quite frankly gets old. All these people constantly complaining. And it's like, is it ever going to get any better unless you actually get out there and say something about it? Is it? You sit there and complain about it, but are you actually lifting a finger to change it like our bishop's doing? Are you willing to actually get out there and try to run for city? Anything? Anything. You put out those BLM signs, and then you sit on your rump waiting for change to happen. Is that really how you want to try to do it? Because I'm telling you, you aren't going to get anywhere fast. He might as well have not done anything at all. For real. The fuck is that sign gonna do? It shows where you stand. Good for you. But does it do anything else? Does it make a statement strong enough that somebody's willing to actually change something? I used to have one of those signs myself. But after a while of hearing person after person just mocking them, did it really do anything? Did it? Did it change a thing? No, it didn't. The only thing that's actually going to change something is if you get out there and actually try for some decisive change. You're just not going to get anywhere. It's a waste of time trying it any other way. It really is. It's a quiet protest. Bullshit. It's not even a protest at all. It's a statement. Okay? I love my bishop, and I love what he's doing, but to sit there and claim he's doing a silent protest by putting up a sign, you may think it's a protest, but ain't nobody really paying you any mind. They aren't. And I'll be the first one to admit it. We're not. We don't give a shit about that sign. In our point of view, it just becomes another piece of tossed out trash when it breaks down. All lives matter. Not just one particular group, creed, race, religion. It doesn't matter. And the sooner people figure it out, the better off the entire world's gonna be. It's stupid. It is all it is. Silent protest. My ass. It's just a printed piece of junk that's gonna rot. And nothing, and I do mean nothing, is gonna change. Absolutely nothing. And you can believe it'll change something if you want to. The only way that's ever gonna change anything is if you direct it at or to somebody. And then it gets counted as racist. If I was to say something that would be told to me by the other ethnic groups, I would be counted as racist because I turned it around. Well, you know what? If that makes me a racist, then so fucking be it. Okay? I'm tired of it. It gets old. Listening to the same old shit back and forth, blah blah blah. Who gives a fuck? Honestly. If speech was gonna change something, it would have changed it over 100 years ago, long before slavery was ever started. If a speech was gonna change it, it would have changed it when the first black person that was enslaved came to the Queen of England and told her it was fucking wrong. And guess what happened? He was murdered for it. Do you really think it fucking matters? There's gonna be racists out there. There's gonna be people that choose self-segregation and political segregation over everything else because they're biased in what they believe. But for real, it is time to stop that stupid shit. It really is. Listening to it. It's just a constant circle of around, he said, she said, fuck off. It's nothing but nonsense. Constant bitching over something that happened 200 years ago. Look, if you still haven't moved on, then you need some help. I'm willing to admit that. Shit, I need help. More than likely half the shit that I just got done saying will be counted as racist. Why? Because it's what I believe. And because I'm a white man saying it. I'm gonna go ahead and say it just like it is. It's all because I'm a white man saying it. That's why it's all gonna be counted as racist. Even though it's the truth. Just non-stop. Gets old. And where does it get you? More hatred and violence than there ever was. And it's self-propagating. Honestly, do you really think because you said something racist to another group that it's gonna change their stance towards your group? Really? If that's what you think, you really are stupid. And I apologize to my bishop, but that's what I believe. If you're gonna sit there and say something racist towards another group and then claim that they're the ones being racist, you really have fucked up. You really did. Your mental status needs to be updated if you think that making a law against one group to protect another group is actually gonna fucking help something. It doesn't. In fact, it causes more separation and strife than it would be just letting the shit being said. Politically correct. Fuck politically correct. Some shit needs to be said, and I'm tired of hearing it. They would count me as racist saying half the stuff that I said. And you know what? I'm willing to admit, some of the statements did start out as racist statements. originally, back in the past. But the way I used it made it all true. I'm tired of it. The constant back and forth, round and round, he said, she said. That's against my creed, my religion. Since when is popular, has the shit that's hard to be heard popular? Fuck popular. The right to freedom of speech wasn't written for the popular. It was written for those that say statements that are unpopular. Just like if you read the Second Amendment, everybody always knows the little bit about the right to bear arms, but they always forget the second half of that. Against an unjust government. If you don't know the whole thing, you might as well not know that thing at all. Half the people know the freedom of religion as freedom from religion. That makes the entire thing a lie. For an omission of truth makes the entire statement a lie. And that's what I was trying to tell Bishop, when he wasn't willing to listen to my side of it, being a Jew. And yet, when I brought up the Sabbath, and he said he doesn't teach that, I said, well then everything you've taught them is a lie. Because if you admit the truth, then you defile the truth, and thus making the statements that you have said previously a lie. And I'm willing to admit that I've done the same thing. But to try to turn it around and make me a liar for proving a truth just made him look more like an ass. And I told him that to his face in front of the congregation. If he wants to ask the question, but he doesn't want to hear the answer, then why fucking ask it? You might as well have not said anything at all. He's sitting there asking a legitimate question and then saying that it always turns into an argument. Yeah, because you weren't willing to hear our side of it. Huh? We asked you about why you celebrate on Sunday. And when I told you that that's not how he said to celebrate it, you told me that we follow the Gregorian calendar. Well, even on the Gregorian calendar, the 7th day isn't fucking Sunday. That's the first day. Hasn't any of you out there heard of the little song Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday? It's the first fucking day of the week. If you aren't even gonna half-ass follow it, then don't follow it. You're making a mockery of the whole thing because it's politically correct. Fuck politically correct. Politically correct can suck an egg. I don't care about what nationality, creed, race, religion you are. But for you to tell me that Sunday's the right day to do it, and then when I try to explain my side of it, you ignore me and tell me that I'm wrong, I'm going to tell you off for it. I don't give a shit what you got to say about it, okay? I'm just going to tell you off, and that's just going to be the end of it. That's going to be the end of the statement. The entire thing. All of it. Because once I sow the seed, it's not mine to keep sowing the same seed. You might as well cast the pearls among the swine, because all they're going to do is trample on it and ignore it. Okay? There's a reason why that was written in there. Just like the line, a wolf in sheep's clothing, leading the flock Well, what would you describe a pastor or bishop unwilling to hear reason even though it's written in the same book he's supposed to be teaching you? Huh? What would you call that? I wouldn't call him a truthful and wholesome man. He's doing it to make himself look good, as far as I'm concerned. And I tried to explain this to our bishop. I said, haven't you noticed that you've been sick and nothing has gone right since the day I told you about the Sabbath? Haven't you noticed that? And don't call it a coincidence, because the same day I told you that you shouldn't be working on a Sabbath, you got hit by a forklift. And the very next week, 7 days later, again on the Sabbath, you went in for a surgery that went sideways. It's now been 2 years, and you still haven't figured it out. You done fucked up. And you weren't even willing to admit that you fucked up. How much work does it take to realize 1 plus 1 equals 2? Doesn't take much work at all, folks. It really doesn't. I bet if I tried hard enough, I could get a monkey to realize that. Stupid shit. And turn around. You might as well not even told the man anything. You could, like my dad always said, you could be doing something wrong for 50 years. It doesn't make it right. That's a little piece of wisdom that fits everybody. And yet they always want to turn around because why? Because it rubs their pride the wrong way? Man, if you're that shallow that you get mad over a statement like that, you got problems. I will admit I used to do that. It used to rub me sideways, but you know what? Sometimes you gotta take your pride and you gotta shove it. There's a reason why the Bible said pride was bad, and it wasn't because he was doing it for his own health. He was doing it because look at what's going on now. All over the world. The constant wars, fighting, bitching, moaning. The constant adultery, lust, envy, jealousy. All of it. Vengeance. It all stems from pride. Because if you didn't have pride, you wouldn't have to do some of this crazy ass shit. Proud of your country and your servicemen. And yet what are they doing? They're going overseas and murdering people. Why? For no other good reason than they can? Is that really who you want to back? Sounds like some demonic shit to me. That's fucked up. Really? That's seriously fucked up. We've got a lot of those people around here. Veterans and stuff. And they get all these cool perks, but what does that perk really mean? It means they've gone to a foreign country that they didn't belong in and murdered people. Why the fuck would I give them kudos for that? Fuck that shit sideways. Do you really think that's a good thing? I don't consider murder a good thing. Our own laws forbid it. Here we are giving them knockbacks and special perks. I don't like that idea now one bit. Really? Doesn't our society frown on murder? And yet here we are giving people perks for going over and murdering in other people's countries? If that country wants to kill each other, then let them. Why are we going to murder our own people by sending them into a country that's like that? And then it gets even worse when you do that, because then they turn around and try to kill us. Does that really sound like something smart? Because in my book it doesn't. It sounds incredibly stupid. Spend all that time, money, and effort trying to save people just to turn around and be murdered by the very things we're trying to use to save them. How is that ever supposed to help somebody? Hasn't anybody ever heard the statement, live by the gun, die by the gun? It also is for swords. Live by the sword, die by the sword. What do you think that statement's written? For fucking real, folks. Do you think any of that is going to get you anywhere except more pain? If you really think so, you got problems. How is an idealistic statement like that going to get you anywhere? It's not. It's all that does is lead to more murder. It gets old. Listening to that stupid shit. Who in their right mind would think that would change something? Because it hasn't changed anything yet. It has not changed the thing. It has not. And of course, a lot of the statements that I have just stated would probably lead to the same thing, even though they're the truth. Since when has violence begot anything except violence? Nothing is ever going to change unless people accept the fact that that nobody's perfect. Everybody has fucked up in one form or another. Everybody has done things that could be construed as racist to other groups for self-centeredness and profit. But come on. just to be a point where you gotta say, fuck off! And fuck that shit. You know? Everybody always sitting there blaming everybody else. Well, it can't only be the one side. You've had to have done or said something to bring about what happened or what was done. It can't only be the one group. Just like our teachers always said when folks were caught fighting at our school. It's a two-way street. What did the other person do first? And usually it was worse than the second person that retaliated for it. And most of the time it was some racist remark or somebody acting completely without candor, being an absolute ass to the other group. Come on. It's a two-way road, folks. You can't have the cake and eat it too. Takes two to tango. Okay?